multicultural marketing. And today I'm going to share with you four simple but highly effective things that you should be considering incorporating into your 2021 Marcom strategy. If you haven't already, the great thing is there's still time. But we are in Q4. It's very important to make sure that you're thinking about these things and that you have a plan of action. Because I will tell you, well, I won't ruin the surprise. I'll tell you later. So first things first. When it comes to reaching more millennials and Gen Zers, the one thing that you really want to think about is we've been involved in Zoom sessions and tons of virtual conferences all year. There is no way around it. So it's really just time to give it a big old hug. Give these virtual summits a big old hug and squeeze them tight, and just know that they're not going anywhere in the near future. But if you're wondering, well, how can I make my virtual event stand out? Don't worry, I got you covered. But first things first is I want you to really be thinking about how events are going to unfold as 2021 approaches and continues to go forward. So one thing that we're starting to see a little bit of is that brands are having activations, but they're focusing on having them outside. The great thing about outdoor activations is, one, it's considered safer, which eases the angst of a lot of people. But more importantly, you're really able to provide these exclusive VIP invite-only events, which does very well with both millennial and Gen Z audiences. So we're going to see a lot more of these activations. And when I say small, I mean micro events. So think 10 to 20 people max, and highlighting those different components of it, having videographers, having photographers, and though the content from those minor or those tiny activations or exclusive activations will be what we see as content and ad campaigns and marketing campaigns for 2021. That's what we're starting to see. And I am certain that we'll see a lot more of that as we approach into 2021. Another thing is really going to be ramped up virtual events. So we've seen Zoom, and there are a ton of new platforms that are welcoming or that are entering into the market that are competing with Zoom. And while Zoom has a great brand recognition, there are some new technologies that are appearing that are really giving Zoom a run for their money. So you definitely want to be on the lookout. I will do a full recap of the top ones that we're seeing during another session, but I want you to be thinking about some of the ways that you can not necessarily just have it be a Zoom, but how you can really ramp up your virtual events. Some things that we're seeing are having, this is a really fun one that we just recently did, is having a quote unquote lunch and learn, but having lunch be delivered by the restaurant of choice, by Uber Eats. Everybody's on their Zoom session or on their virtual session live, and everyone's eating together. It's kind of almost like it's like having lunch with your coworkers or your colleagues, but not necessarily. And I will tell you, I've been on quite a few of these. It's kind of cool because when you're thinking about it, you're like, oh, hey, Jane, what are you eating? And she's like, oh, I'm having sushi. And then, hey, Bob, what are you eating? Oh, I'm having some Italian. So, I mean, I know it's not necessarily what we're used to. But again, it's time to give everything virtual, a big old hug and just get used to it, because again, it's not going anywhere for a while. We're probably not going to see events really start to ramp up until Q4 of 2021. And even then, again, based on all the research and based on all the feedback that we're getting from the millennials and Gen Zs that we are interviewing and assessing, most of them are saying that they won't feel comfortable going to a live event, a full-scale live event, until at the earliest Q4 of 2021. So the more you know. Next thing that you should be thinking about as we're thinking about your 2021 strategy are mailers. I know, right? Mailers were like one of those considered old school marketing. People would like clown mailers, but I will tell you now that not everyone, but now that we're mostly at home now, what we're seeing more of are brands incorporating mailers again. So especially if you're doing a virtual event, you want to see how you can incorporate mailers and how you can incorporate some sense of exclusivity or some sense of shock and awe to your customers, because it's just going to make them feel like you're taking that extra step. So I can't give you details on some of the stuff that we're working on when it comes to mailers, but I can tell you mailers are definitely making a strong comeback. So branded materials are going to be huge for 2021, as they're going to be those daily reminders of your brand. And you'll also see a ton of brands really ramping up their virtual and including mailers. We're starting to see a lot of that now, but we'll see a ton more of it in 2021. The next thing, and one of probably my favorite ones that I'm really excited about seeing more of in 2021, is the sense of creating community. Now, community is one of those things that we're seeing a little bit of, especially when it comes to tech and SaaS companies, but we're going to start seeing a lot of other brands that are not necessarily in those spaces really form senses of community around their brands. So the easiest way that brands are doing this is by simply creating a Facebook group, sending out an email, letting all their customers know, hey, would you like to see some behind the scenes? Would you like to know more about our exclusive offers? Would you like to see get first looks? All of those great things. Head over to our private Facebook group, and it's run by someone on your team. Now, a lot of brands are having this be run by their marcom agencies or consultants, but either way, there tends to be someone from within the organization, an internal stakeholder that's also a part of that community. And I will tell you, one of the things that we're seeing a lot of that works really well is having the CEO or C-level executive come into the groups, occasionally pop in, say something really cool, create a video, do a Q&A. All those things go a very long way when it comes to millennials and Gen Z. So you want to be thinking about how you can incorporate community into your brand as you're planning out your 2021 strategy. And last but not least is edutainment. Yes, I said that right. Edutainment, okay? How can you educate and entertain your customers and your consumers as you're thinking through your 2021 strategy? So some things that you want to be thinking about, and we're doing this a lot with some of our clients, is thinking through how you can give them a behind the scenes look, how you can give them first looks, how you can show them that things are made, how different ways that they can use your products or services, and all those different things. It's really all around educating them so that they have that different level of connection to your brand, but also educating them and keeping them entertained. So edutainment, I didn't make that word up. It's a real word. And if you're in the marcom space, I'm sure you've heard it before. But if you haven't, then it's something that you want to be thinking about as you're thinking through your 2021 strategy. I can't tell you who coined the term, but I will say it's something that you really want to be thinking about as you're rolling out your 2021 strategy. So, quick recap. 1, outdoor experiences. Remember, 20 people and under, of course, socially distanced. We're seeing a lot more of these pop up, especially in the southern states, where it's still sunny and we're not necessarily feeling the effects of winter yet. So definitely something to think about as you're planning out your 2021. The great thing about this is that your brands have been doing this before when they were branded as influencer events, but these are going to be some ways that you can really engage with some of your top stakeholders that aren't necessarily influencers for your brand or industry influencers, but this is just a great way for you to really build community around your brand. Number 2, mailers. Think about how you can create some really cool content, really cool things that you can ship out to your consumers. One thing I will tell you is when it comes to branded mugs, branded cups, branded towels, all of those cool things, we're going to see a lot more of in 2021. So you really want to be thinking about how you can incorporate your brand into that strategy. Number 3 is community. It can be as simple as a Facebook group, or if you want to be a little bit more involved with it, you can create your own custom platform. Many brands are doing this, and you definitely want to make sure that you're one of the ones that are leading the charge with this new revolution. And last but definitely not least is edutainment, how you can educate and also entertain your audience. And this can come in many different forms. But I will tell you, the best, of course, is always going to be video. Video reigns supreme. And when it comes to millennials and Gen Z, you want to be thinking about ways that you can incorporate that in a new social platform that I know you've heard of, but you may not necessarily know enough about or may not feel comfortable with, but that platform is TikTok. Yes, TikTok videos are a great way for you to be thinking about how you can edutain your customers and your stakeholders. And the great thing about that content, once you have it, you can keep it on your TikTok and you can also export it and post it across other social media platforms. So That's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely let me know by leaving a comment. And if you need help with your millennial, Gen Z, or multicultural strategy, definitely don't hesitate to reach out to me in the LinkedIn messages. I'll see you on the next video. Bye now.